Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone, and I apologize if my voice seems a little bit off. Lucky me, I have spring allergies, but that's not the point. The point is I have the fabulous Ken with me, and Ken is a DJ who's opened up for a million bands, and he's a fabulous DJ at that. So I guess I'll let Ken take it away, and I guess this will be the music episode of Butterflies of Wisdom.
Well, music is definitely my life. I have a lot of fun when I go out and entertain at events, and I've been very privileged to be able to open for some pretty major acts around the country, whether it's Cleveland or Chicago, Orlando, or Las Vegas. I handle most of my events in Massachusetts, but I've been doing it for 27 years now, and some of the fun acts that I've opened for include Chubby Checker and Tone Loc, CNC Music Factory, and the Archies, Tiffany and Debbie Gibson, and it's been a great run.
It has been a great run, it looks like it. And so, other than that, as for what you mentioned in your bio, who has been your favorite act that you have worked with and opened for?
Well, I could tell you that one of my favorite from a personality standpoint had to have been Chubby Checker. When I opened for Chubby in Las Vegas, it was at a national DJ conference, and I never saw anybody more gracious. He sat and spoke with the participants, the DJs from around the country, and I watched him take photographs and do pictures for well into 3 hours after the show was over. I've never seen any performer do that, and I thought he was just a nice guy when I, introduced him and did sound checks and those things before the show. But even after the show, this was a guy who was probably the most gracious performer I've ever seen.
Yeah, most performers want to escape after they perform. Most performers want to exit the stage and escape, not hang out with their fans. And so if you had to be educated by anyone inside or outside the music field, who would it be?
As far as my education, luckily,
yes,
I started this business when I was 14. So I am actually pretty much self-educated. I went to national DJ conferences starting back in 1992, and so there were some national DJs back then that were showing us how to perform. There was a gentleman by the name of Johnny Roz who was in Connecticut. There was another one by the name of Bobby Morgenstein who was in Pennsylvania. I think they're both still in. I know Bobby is because I saw him not too long ago at the most recent conference. And these are guys that have been doing this for a lot longer than me. And those are my first instructors back in 92. But soon after that, the DJ business is in such an infancy back in the late 80s and the early 90s that it allowed me the opportunity to kind of accelerate my education and soon become an instructor myself. I mean, I've been instructing other DJs how to perform since 1997. So I was only in the business for about, I'd say, just a little over 6 years by that point, and then I became an instructor. So there were a couple people that were prior to that, but most of my education was self-found, self-taught.
How cool is that? Now I'm interested to ask you this question because I was lucky enough to see a DJ the other day. We were at a restaurant, and of course the DJ was right there, and I noticed he was using a laptop. And so how has technology impacted what you do?
Dramatically. When I started, I was using vinyl. I remember one event that I was doing that I even used an 8-track. I had to bring out my father's 8-track player in order to play an 8-track tape. It was an Elvis 8-track tape. And when I used to go out with vinyl, which was for probably the first 5 years of business, I had vinyl and I had CDs. And during that time period, we would go out with somewhere in the vicinity of about maybe 5,000 songs, which was a lot of music back then. And now, it would be backbreaking between bringing up all the milk crates worth of records to the coffins that would hold our turntables and mixing boards that would weigh 110, 120 pounds. It would be a lot of weight that we'd carry into every venue. It would take hours to set up some of our systems. The technology that's allowed us since 2000, we started using touchscreen computer systems in 2000. We moved all of our music, which were on CDs at the time, over to we ripped them all individually and had to hand type them in. So at the time, we're probably talking about maybe a few hundred songs a day that we would type in, and it took us 6 months to get to about maybe 10 to 15,000 songs in 2000. Now the songs come in, we get them downloaded from a DJ services, and they come right in. We don't have to write any names on the files. We get 500 per month. We have well over 95,000 songs, and our setup takes sometimes for just a basic sound system. We can set up a sound system in less than 10 minutes. So the weight distribution, the way that we input our music, the quantity of music that we can offer to our clients has dramatically increased over the last 20 years. Technology is like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, in the last 20 years, we've gone through an industrial revolution when it comes to DJs. So it made our lives a lot easier. On the flip side of it, it made it harder because now anybody with an iPod, with an iTunes account, likes to consider themselves to be a DJ, and they don't have the first clue as to what it really takes to run an event.
I could only imagine the flip side of the iPod, because people are handing you, Ken, the iPod, and you don't know what songs they have on their iPod, and I'm going to put this very mildly. You don't know if they're G-rated or not. So when they're handing you the iPod and saying, please play this song, it's like, really? I have my own DJ service, and I want to use my own DJ service because I'm sure they cost you a fee to use it.
That's right. Well, we pay thousands of dollars every year to pay for the rights to the music and the videos that we get and we use. And we only play, if a client came up and said we would like to play the song, then we'll play from their iPod or from their iPhone or iTouch. But we won't play from guests because, just like you said, we don't know what's on that track. We don't know if it's clean. And we also don't know if it's going to make the party go. When we're reading a crowd, if we have a DJ that's at an event and we're reading the crowd and we're playing a set list of 10 or 15 songs, and a DJ that doesn't have our experience goes in to the same exact event, same exact list of music, and they don't know how to mix it, blend it, choose the music to elicit an emotional response, we're not going to get the same reaction. Our reaction is going to be energy, it's going to be excitement, it's going to be emotions, and theirs is just literally playing like a jukebox. And that is a huge difference when it comes to DJs with experience.
Yes, I can completely understand. I saw this DJ working the other day, and even though he was working in the small corner of a restaurant, I'm like, yeah, you're not going to get that crowd up and dancing because they're talking over you, and then they're not paying attention to the music. You're just doing your job.
Yeah, and there are different types of DJs out there. I would never badmouth anybody if they're doing restaurants or bars where they are doing it for background style. I completely understand how that is a necessity in this business, and I love the fact that opportunity is there. I prefer to do only mobile events. The only events that I don't do any restaurants, bars, or clubs. I only do weddings, bar mitzvahs, corporate events, schools, and private parties where people are going to be up on the floor eventually. And then, of course, I do the opening acts for when I'm firing up a crowd prior to an act to come on stage. But that's the only type of thing that I do because, if it's a restaurant DJ, they have a role to play, and that's to run background music and just keep it kind of light and upbeat. But they're not going to have people on the dance floor at a restaurant typically.
No, they're not going to have people on the dance floor. And I apologize for the background noise to everyone who's listening. My dad just walked in, and I apologize for the background noise, but I think since we're talking about background noise and restaurants and DJs, I think it's a perfect fit. But I'm trying to let you guys understand that life happens, and life happened around me as I do this interview. So my next question to you, Ken, is that I want to know what is your favorite song to DJ to, and then what is your favorite song personally?
Well, when I'm going out to do an event, the one thing I've tried to do over the years is not pick a favorite. If I were to allow my bias, my personal tastes into the event, what it's going to do is it's going to interfere with the personal tastes of my guests and my client. So if I had to pick one, it's my go-to. It's called my trigger song. It's called a hammer. When we call it a hammer, it's a song that basically will virtually always work in every environment if you want people on the dance floor. And I have probably one hammer song, which is Shook You All Night Long by AC/DC. Because no matter where you play that song, when you play that song, you're going to get a very strong reaction from kids, adults. I mean, I've played that song with grandparents and retirement parties, and I've still elicited a very strong response to it. But I say that loosely because I would only pull that out if it's the proper environment. If I'm sitting there at a upper-class corporate event where I know they're not going to do a whole lot of dancing and they're just talking with each other, the last song I'm going to play is that one, even though I know that's called the hammer song. So, and as far as my personal taste, my taste is very obscure. I would say that if I had to pick one song as my personal favorite, it's probably Careless Whisper by Wham, and it's because I have a general like for stuff that I don't play at parties, and the saxophone part in Careless Whisper happens to touch me. So I would say that that's probably my number one song personally.
So Careless Whisper would be your favorite song to play at a DJ party, and then you don't infuse what you like personally because, again, it's reading the crowd, and if we all infuse what we like personally, that would make for a terrible gig.
Right, and that's why Careless Whisper is in my headphones and not coming over my speakers.
Well, technology can do amazing things, and they can you can be listening to something, and other people can be listening to other music and what they like and what they seem to get up and dancing with, and yet you can keep yourself sane by listening to your favorite music.
That's true.
So I have a question for you. For the beginning DJs out there, what would be your best piece of advice other than work with you as their mentee?
What I would say to any upcoming DJ is put your ego aside. When we're in a business where we're on stage and we're in front of people every single day of our lives, and it comes with a big ego. It just happens to be, it kind of goes hand in hand in this business. But when it comes to doing an event itself, it's not about you. It's not, ABC DJ goes to a wedding. It's about that bride and groom. It's about that bar mitzvah client. It's about that, company client or prom that you might do. And so it's nothing to do with me or as a DJ that's running the party. It's all about focusing the attention and the spotlight onto whoever the guest of honor is, which means playing music that's going to be appropriate for their event, That's going to be acting in a professional manner. That's going to be basically when someone comes up and makes a request where you know the song isn't going to work, instead of just shooting them down and saying, no, I'm not playing that, or yeah, whatever, you say, well, I don't think that might work with this crowd, but let's see if we can find something else that you like that might go ahead. So you keep the lines of communication open. A lot of DJs that start out will often just want to play what they're used to, what their comfort zone is. And they forget the fact that those guests, those clients, those are the ones that are going to give them the future business. So if you make your guests happy, if you make your clients happy because they're the spotlight and they're the star of the day, then you're going to get more work. And at the end of the day, more work is what you want in this business because all we do is hustle.
Yes, because the music industry has changed so much with iTunes, thank you very much, and with a laptop, iTunes, anyone can download a song, and so DJing is an art in itself, and you are trying to make the client happy. It's not whether you want to be happy or not.
Right. And you could be, and the thing is that if you're a DJ starting out, you don't have the reputation already. You don't have that kind of that aura of when you walk into the room that, oh, this is the guy I saw last month or this last year, and I want him at my event. You're starting out. You have to build that. And the best way to build that is just to make the clients happy, because then they're going to talk to their friends and family. They're going to talk to, their guests and company coworkers. And they're going to say, hey, this is the guy you want to have because ABC DJ is the one that's going to listen to what you want and play what you want. So those are all part and parcel to making a successful business.
Yes, well, I definitely understand that because, as I said earlier, iTunes is getting to the point of not paying the artist and not paying the DJ, and we can download iTunes every which way, but when you come to DJing, you kind of have to work with other people around you.
Absolutely. And beyond that, it's not, what I do is not even about the music as much as it is about client services. It's about running the events, being the coordinator. Sometimes I've been a cake decorator. Sometimes I've been a tailor and had to fix wedding dresses. Sometimes I've had to be a psychiatrist and deal with problems that have taken place between, the client and other vendors or guests on the dance floor that may have had too much to drink and decide that they want to, get into some sort of a battle on the floor or some yelling match and screaming match. So I've had to jump out and basically calm down the situation before. So it's all about the behind-the-scenes stuff more than it is the music.
Really, it is. I'm surprised that you had to play a psychologist while playing a DJ at the same time, and I'm not surprised because of you are going to make the clients happy.
That's exactly right.
And so where can people find you? Where can people work with you? Where can people find you?
There are actually a couple ways of finding us directly. I do a lot of national events, but I do most of my work in the New England states. And my website is atouchofclass.com, all 4 words, no spaces, atouchofclass. And they can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/ATOCDJS, which is the initials of the company, ATOCDJS, plural. And so Facebook is a great resource, but I would say that most people go directly to our site. atouchofclass.com, everything comes right into the office, has video clips online, lots of links to be able to locate us personally.
Lots of links. So Facebook, but your direct website is going to be the best bet.
Absolutely. And we even have on our website a chat box now where it's nice because when if you're on the website, 15, 20 seconds after you're there, chat box pops up. and it doesn't go to somebody in Pakistan. It comes right to my cell phone if I'm not in my office, or it comes to my desk if I'm in my office.
How cool is that? See, using technology to help your business grow. You would have to adapt to technology in the DJ world now because DJs are not spinning records. They're using laptops and they're using their sources, i.e. and iTunes too, although iTunes isn't the best bet for DJs, as you said earlier, Ken. And so before I let you go, I'm actually going to turn the mics over to you and let you ask me 2 to 3 questions.
Absolutely. So the first thing that interested me was trying to find out what it was that gave you the decision to create this podcast, which is a great resource for people out in the downloading public.
Well, downloading public. Well, one, I can't type. I can't type to save my life. So I decided to put my typing skills in what I was thinking in audio format. 2, I wrote a book when I was 23 years old. I Come a Win, which could be found on Amazon. 2 weeks after that book came out, not only did my friends, my fans, my family buy it, it shot to number 1, but 2 weeks after the book came out, people started asking me, how do you do all this with a disability? Well, I didn't think that I was able to turn a podcasting mic on and explain I have cerebral palsy. I thought people were going to tune me out. But lo and behold, 4 years later, people were listening to every word I say and glomming on to not only my story, but the fascinating guests like yourself, Ken, that I bring on my podcast.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, when I look at with people, whether it's with disabilities or other things that they may have overcome, it's inspirational to have these types of stories, and I get to witness that every day of my life when I go out and work. And the second thing is, I love to hear great stories about experience that you have had, because I never written a book. I don't have my own podcast. And so my experience is limited to my own my own life. So what is the number one, when it comes to interview, has there been somebody in particular that you found that was the most intriguing or the most excited that you were to actually have the interview with?
Well, I hate to be biased here, but people get to see my other passion today, even though my other passion is not DJing. My other passion is music. So anyone in the music industry, whether it be a DJ or a famous artist, I'm so happy to share my other passion and my other love with my podcasting community. And I seriously mean that, Ken. Having you on and speaking about your work, that is the best interview I can do, because I'm not only trying to help you, I want to share my love of music with the podcasting community as well.
Music unites us, that's for sure. And I appreciate that sentiment.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Music does unite us. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. I hope you pulled nuggets of knowledge out from Ken. And please, 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 if you want Ken to work with you on your next event, please contact him. He's more than welcome to work with you. And please, everyone, don't put iTunes music in your podcast, that's a no-no in itself, because Ken, you would probably agree with this last statement. You'll get big-time fines, because what the records companies are trying to do now is do the royalties for the artist. So as Ken said, he has to pay thousands of dollars to his DJ system just to use the music. So please, 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 please be careful what you put in your podcast. That is my PSA. While I have Ken with me so he can echo my PSA, because we don't want anyone to get in trouble.
Yeah, we don't actually use iTunes or iPods at all with our stuff. iTunes gives you what's called personal rights to a song, so you can listen for your own personal use. The moment you use it at an event or you're making money or you're broadcasting it, that's for broadcast or commercial rights. And iTunes doesn't actually have the rights to do that. So that 99-cent song that you paid for is not able to go online. It's not able to go at an actual paid event. So we've learned that, and we've decided that, we have made some enemies over with our clients who say, why can't you just download an iTunes for us for our wedding? And I said, I'm sorry, it's not legal to do so. And so we can't do that. So it's definitely something not only that I echo, but I preach it at my conventions when I actually do my educational seminars, is say, do it the right way. It's not worth the $10,000 fine and years in jail and so forth per each offense. It's one 99-cent song that could cost you $10,000. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the majority of this podcast, not only to explain your work, but to answer my question so eloquently, which you did, and echo my PSA, because you guys, it's not worth it, and I don't want you guys to calling me and say, oops, I got a $10,000 fine from iTunes just because I stuck to snippets of the song in my podcast. No. iTunes is perfectly fine for personal use, but iTunes and podcasts do not mix. So I wanted to make that PSA clear, as I had Ken on, but I appreciate Ken's time this morning, and I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode. This episode and this podcast is sponsored by Grace by Grit. Grace by Grit is a fabulous clothing line out of California, and they're giving you 20% off, so go enjoy that. Go take advantage of Ken artistry and his work in the DJ industry, and I hope you guys have a fabulous Wednesday, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.